Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we unwrap the financial secrets that drive the corporate world today. We're diving into Lite Strategy Incorporated's latest report, and let's just say it's all about sticking to the plan, or is it? Now picture this, you are looking at a company's financial health for the last few months. Did they do well? Did they stumble? Well, for Lite Strategy Inc., the latest filing tells a story, and we're here to decode it for you. Before we jump in, if you like your financial deep dives, no nonsense and easy to understand, make sure you are subscribed. And hey, we've got a growing community on Discord, linked down below, where we chat about these things and more. The big news here is that on the 17th of February 2026, Lite Strategy Incorporated, or Lite Strategy Incorporated as it is sometimes known, dropped a press release about their financial results. This report covers the 3 and 6 month periods that wrapped up at the end of December in 2025. This is Lite Strategy Incorporated, a company that calls Delaware home and is listed on the Nasdaq stock market, LLC, under the ticker symbol LITS they're in the business of. Well, strategy and how they're executing that strategy financially is what we're interested in. Their common stock, with a tiny par value, trades on Nasdaq. Essentially, this is the main slice of ownership in the company that you can buy and sell. The main event in this filing, the juicy part we all want to know about, is the results of operations and their overall financial condition. This particular section tells us that, yes, they've announced their numbers and we're about to get a peek. But there is a little disclaimer here, this information is being furnished, meaning it's being provided. But it is not technically considered filed in the same way other parts of the report are. This is a common nuance in these filings that essentially means they're sharing the news, but not making it a formal part of their permanent record in the strictest sense for certain legal purposes. So, the core of this report is really Exhibit 99.1, which is that press release they issued. Think of this press release as the company's official story about how they did. It's what they want the world to know about their performance. We're going to dig into what that story likely contains, focusing on those key financial figures that really matter. While this 8K filing doesn't contain the actual financial tables within this HTML document, the press release it references almost certainly does. So we'll be interpreting what those numbers most likely indicated for Lite Strategy Inc. during the financial periods ending the 31st of December 2025, typically when a company releases quarterly results. They're highlighting things like revenue, which is the total money they brought in from selling their services or products. They'll also talk about their net income, which is what is left after all expenses are paid. The actual profit, investors and analysts will be scrutinizing changes in these numbers compared to previous periods, like the quarter a year earlier or the previous quarter. If revenue is up significantly, it suggests their business is growing and their strategies are working. If profits are also up, it means they're managing their costs efficiently while growing. On the flip side, if revenue is flat or declining, that's a red flag. It could mean their products or services aren't resonating with customers anymore, competition is too fierce, or their overall market strategy isn't panning out. Even if revenue is growing, if profits aren't keeping pace or are shrinking, it points to rising costs or pricing pressures. Maybe they're spending more to acquire new customers, or their cost of delivering their services has gone up. Often, these press releases also touch on other important metrics. For a company like Lite Strategy Incorporated, this might include things like customer acquisition numbers, client retention rates, or perhaps key performance indicators, KPIs specific to their industry. For instance, if they're a tech or consulting firm, they might talk about the growth in their client base or the average revenue per client. Looking at the date, the 17th of February 2026, we're getting a glimpse into the crucial holiday quarter of 2025 and also the first half of their fiscal year. This period is often critical for many businesses, and how Lite Strategy Incorporated performed here could set the tone for the rest of their year. The fact that they're filing an 8K with this information means they consider these results significant enough to report promptly. Now, let's think about what kind of strategy Lite Strategy Incorporated might be employing. Without the details of the press release, we can only speculate, but if they're truly focused on strategy, their results would reflect how well they're helping other businesses or how effective their own internal strategic maneuvers are. Are they expanding into new markets, launching innovative services, streamlining their operations? The numbers would tell that story. For Warren Buffett, the key is always understanding the business. He looks for companies with durable competitive advantages, strong management, and clear paths to profitability. When we analyze Lite Strategy's potential numbers, we'll be asking, does this look like a company with a sustainable edge? Is the management team making decisions that create long-term value? What are the underlying economic forces at play that could help or hurt this company? If, for example, their revenue grew by 10%, but their cost of revenue grew by 15%, that is a sign of potential trouble. It means the cost of delivering what they sell is increasing faster than their ability to charge for it. That is like a restaurant raising its food prices but not being able to pass all those costs on to the customer. Eventually, the profit margin shrinks, and that is not a healthy long-term trend. On the other hand, if revenue grew by 10% and profits grew by 12%, that suggests they're not only bringing in more business, but are also becoming more efficient. That's the kind of growth that builds value. We also want to see how they're managing their cash. Companies need cash to operate, invest, and weather tough times. A strong cash flow from operations is a very positive sign. If they're consistently generating less cash from their core business, even if they report a profit, it could mean that profit isn't translating into actual usable money. The stock symbol Lite itself is quite telling. It suggests a focus on being lit or innovative, or perhaps a direct shorthand for Lite strategy. Whichever it is, the performance represented by these numbers will directly impact how the market perceives the company's future prospects, and consequently its stock price. It is important to remember that financial reports are just one piece of the puzzle. External factors like the overall economic climate, shifts in technology, regulatory changes, and the competitive landscape all play a huge role in a company's success. However, by dissecting the numbers presented in their earnings release, we can get a solid understanding of how Lite Strategy Incorporated is navigating these challenges and opportunities. Now, let's transition to how we see Lite Strategy Incorporated's overall picture based on what we can infer. Their main strength, if these numbers are positive, will likely lie in their ability to execute a well-defined strategy that resonates with their target market. If they're showing growth and profitability, it suggests they've found a sweet spot in the market and are effectively delivering value. However, a key risk for any strategy-focused company is the rapid pace of change in many industries. If their strategy is too rigid or fails to adapt to new trends, they could quickly become obsolete. Opportunities would lie in identifying emerging market needs and leveraging their strategic expertise to develop solutions. A weak point could be over-reliance on a single service or client, making them vulnerable to shifts in demand. The conclusion, Lite Strategy Incorporated through this reporting period has given us a snapshot of their operational and financial standing. We need to see the actual numbers from the press release to give a definitive verdict. But the promptness of this filing suggests they believe they have something noteworthy to share, whether good or bad, about their strategy's impact. Alright, that's our initial decode of Lite Strategy Incorporated's latest filing. What's your take on what might be in that press release, and what does the future hold for a company focused on strategy? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, smash that like button and definitely subscribe for more deep dives into the world of corporate finance. And don't forget to join our Discord community linked in the description to keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.